Hey guys, and welcome back to Inspired by Jerica Brochet, and welcome back to the Zodiac Signs mini series. We are on week 4, I believe. I think we're on week 4. We have made it halfway through. We have done 6 signs already. So we've done Aries and Libra, we've done Taurus and Scorpio. We have done Gemini and Sagittarius. And so today we are making our way back around to another earth sign. And today that sign is Capricorn. Okay, so if you are new, welcome to the series. And if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. There's a few different things that I have on here. Check out the welcome videos for the channel to learn more about me. But if you're new to the series, if this is the first of the signs that you are clicking on, welcome. I definitely recommend that you watch the videos that came before this. So the 6 that I've already mentioned, definitely want to take a look at those, especially if you're into like progression as far as like going from one sign to the next. But if you don't care about that, that's okay. Essentially, what this series is about is looking at the zodiac signs in regards to their polarity. So I have been releasing 2 videos per week, which is why instead of doing it in the zodiacal order, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and so on, I decided to do it by polarity. So we did Aries, Libra, and then Taurus, Scorpio, and then Sag, Gemini. So, this polarity for this week will be Capricorn and Cancer. And so essentially, I have been only focusing on the 5 main planets of Mercury, Mars, Venus, Saturn, and I'm missing somebody. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn. Oh my gosh, you guys, Jupiter. I am tripping. So yes, you guys, the main 5, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, plus the 2 luminaries, the sun and the moon. And those 7 collectively are all that we're going to look at as far as planets. I may mention Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus here and there, but because I tend to approach astrology from a traditional standpoint, that is why I stick with the main 5 planets plus the 2 luminaries. And so essentially what we've been doing in the series is to also look at what I have called the big 4. And with the big 4, basically I am looking at 4 main things when it comes to figuring out why a sign does what it does. And that's really what this series is about. It's like, why do we describe Capricorn the way that we do? Like, where does that stem from, or where does that come from? And how is it different from its polarity sign? And so the big 4 for me have been whether or not the sign is a masculine or feminine sign, or is it yin or yang, the planetary ruler, the element of the sign, and the modality of the sign. So those are the main 4 that we have been looking at to determine exactly where we derive our significations from when it comes to the signs in general. So here I'm doing a quick introduction to astrology. I have been doing this for all of the videos so far. So again, if you are continuing in the series, check the timestamps below and you can skip the introduction part and head over into the big 4 for Capricorn. Okay, but for those of you who are new, astrology derives from the Greek word astro, meaning star, and logos, meaning language, knowledge, or information. And so astrology is essentially the language of the stars, or the language of the heavens. And it's the knowledge and the information that we get from the stars and from the heavens. And astrology actually follows the Hermetic principle, or one of the universal laws of correspondence. And if you are familiar with the Hermetic principles, then you know the as above, so below, as within, so without axiom. And astrology follows this universal law. And so the idea is that you have a greater whole and then you have lesser whole. The greater whole would be the macrocosm, and then the lesser whole would be the microcosm. So microcosm is just really saying that they are lesser wholes, but they are wholes in general. Okay, so they correlate and they sort of do a mirroring. So it's sort of like whatever is happening in the macro is reflected in the microcosm. So I hope that makes sense. All right. And then whatever is born or done at a particular moment in time inherently has the qualities of that moment. And so astrology describes the nature of those moments. And that's why it's so important to have a birth time or the exact time of an event, because it is said that the chart will reflect, or the individual or the event will reflect those said energies and how those energies are expressed. And so, an example that I have given in some of my other videos for this series is the wine connoisseur, or a person who is a sommelier. Their job is to basically be able to taste the wine, and simply based off of tasting, they could tell you the vineyard, the part of the world that it came from, maybe even the year of the wine, and they really can describe it to a T. And so essentially our charts reflect us in that way. So because we are born within a particular time period and at a certain time, we hold the essence of the energies of that time. All right, so that's a quick intro into astrology. Now let's do a quick intro into the signs, okay? Zodiac derives from the Greek word zodiakos, meaning circle or little circle of animals. And the signs are birthed from a combination of interactions between the four elements, which produce the four seasons, and the three modalities in which they operate. And so we know that there are four seasons, right? And well, typically, depending on where you live in the world, you get to experience four distinct seasons. But where I am in the Northern Hemisphere, we do get to experience the four distinct seasons. And each season has a beginning, a middle, and a transition period. The beginning, middle, and transition period is what astrology calls the modality. Okay. And so when you take the four seasons times those three modalities, 4 times 3 is 12. And that is how you get the 12 zodiacs. Okay. And zodiac is different from constellation, just so you know. All right. Contrary to popular belief, the signs are not the stars of the show, but they do spice things up with a little bit of flavor. Okay. The signs are the environment, okay, in which the true stars of the show, which are the planets, choose to express themselves or are able to express themselves. So the signs sort of color and flavor different modes of expression for the planets to express themselves. All right, so everybody ready? Are we all on board? Let's get started. All right, Capricorn. Capricorn's big four. The gender is yin, or feminine, or nocturnal. Those are different words to describe gender depending on who you're talking to and where you may learn from. You will see these terms used interchangeably. So the gender is yin, or feminine. The element is earth. The modality is cardinal, or some people may say tropical. And the planetary ruler is Saturn. So let's jump into yin. What does it mean for a planet to be yin, or for a sign to be yin? Yin is an energy that is repressive, it is receptive, it is internal, and it tends to be guarded. So another law, a universal law that you may or may not be familiar with, is the universal law of polarity. So in this 3D realm, on Earth, we experience duality and polarity here. So it's really where one thing can't exist without the other thing. And yin and yang, or masculine and feminine, are a part of that. And there is another universal law. If you are familiar with like the Kabbalion or the Hermetic principles, gender is also a universal law. And I know that can be a little bit of a touchy subject for some people, but essentially, we do live in a world of duality, and you have one thing, and then you have the total opposite of that thing. Okay. And we'll get a little bit more into polarity when we get to that slide of talking about Capricorn's polarity sign, Cancer. But for now, I want you guys to understand just that yin is going to be internal. It's going to be a repressive and a receptive energy, sort of receives and soaks things up. So if we consider the anatomy of a male and a female, right? A male's anatomy protrudes outward, it goes out. So expressive, right? Whereas the female's anatomy goes in, it is inward and receptive, right? So another thing to opposites. Now, Capricorn is also an earth sign. So of the four elements, earth is slow, okay? It's slow. It has the qualities of cold and dry. And it is actually the cold and dry that gives the influence on Capricorn, to where the cold quality is what makes Capricorn energy contracting. It makes it dense and absorbent, as it does with most of the earth signs, because the earth signs tend to be cold and dry. But the dry influence is what adds a little bit of the resistance to Capricorn. So it's kind of what makes it a little bit that stubborn aspect that you tend to experience with an earth sign. That comes from the dry quality. So it makes it a little bit rigid, and a little bit hard. But excuse me. That means I need some water. Hold on one second. Water break. Okay. Earth signs carry the melancholic temperament, which gives them a greater focus on practicality and functionability. And this is a trait that you will see amongst the other two earth signs of Taurus and Virgo. So when it comes to our earth signs, functionability and practicality, very important. At the end of the day, the earth signs want to know, does it work? Can we make sense of it? Is it useful? And, they want to make sure that there is a purpose behind the things that they do. Now, Capricorn is a cardinal or tropical sign. And as we learned when we talked about cardinal energy in the Libra video, cardinal energy is very self-initiating. It likes to initiate or start things. And for Capricorn season, Capricorn is what initiates or begins the season of winter. Cardinal energy also likes to drive. So it wants to be the one that's driving the car. Okay. It wants to be at the head of the wheel. It's very action oriented. And it can be a little bit impulsive as well, and very present. I read somewhere once that the cardinal signs, so Capricorn, Libra, Cancer, and Aries, that they tend to be entitled. And that has stuck with me. I think I agree with that. And they feel entitled because those four signs are the signs that jumpstart every change of the season. They are the beginning, the initiators of each of the four seasons. And so I do think that there can be a little bit of a sense of entitlement when it comes to the cardinal signs. But anyway, Capricorn marks the time of winter solstice. And this is a time when the sun has the least amount of light because it has reached the most southern or the lowest part of the sky. And so the night is what becomes victorious at this time. And for those of you who don't know, the Latin root word or the etymology behind the word solstice, which you have two solstices. Okay, so you have your summer solstice and your winter solstice. So the Capricorn and Cancer axis are our solstices. But the Latin root word for solstice actually means sun, the sol, S-O-L, sun, and then stis is means to stand still. So the solstices are times of the year where the sun stands still. For the Cancer or the summer solstice, the sun is at the highest point of the sky and stands still there. But then for the winter solstice, the sun is at the lowest part of the sky and stands still there. So here we have the shortest day of the year, but the longest night of the year. And so this is where you tend to have your mythical stories, or if you have heard about the Bible and Jesus dying on the cross and he's buried for 3 days and then resurrected. That is along with the winter solstice, because this is a time where we have lost light. And, Jesus represents light. He says that he is the light of the world. So Capricorn season is a time where that light is lost. And so Capricorn season really challenges us to have captured the light from earlier parts of the year and somehow have made good use of it and being practical with it, so that during the Capricorn season, when the light is gone, so when somebody cuts the light out on you, what's left? What have you done throughout the year to where you will be able to tap into your light that's within, because the light outside of you is all gone? It's easy to confuse what you're able to do on your own when other people are around you and they're doing it as well. So you have their influence and it's easy. But what if there's nobody around and there's just you? Do you still have that light within? Are you still able to be as productive? Can you do the same things? And so I think when it comes to Capricorn energy being ruled by Saturn, and we'll get to Saturn stuff in just a second, Capricorn energy really does challenge you to be able to dive into the depths of the inner self. Remember, it is a yin sign, so it's about going inward and finding the light there, because there is no light during this time of the year, or it's very minimal during this time of the year outside of you. When you look outside, at least in the northern hemisphere for winter solstice, things have died, things are dormant, there's no more heat, so you don't have because heat and moisture is what's conducive to growth. But with coldness, you have the absence of heat and it's dry. So nothing is growing. Things look very barren. So in order for you to really make it through this time of the year and not fall to depressive type states, you're going to have to go within and you're going to have to tap into the light that's kind of within you. And Capricorn energy can help to do that. So as I mentioned, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn governs maturity. It is the Lord or the God of time. And so its influence on Capricorn is very aware of time, and they want their time to be used in a resourceful, practical, useful way. They don't want to waste time because of Saturn's influence. Saturn represents limitations and restrictions. Literally, it has the rings around it, right? So Saturn is about boundaries and wanting to distinguish what's yours and what's somebody else's. What energy belongs to you versus energy that belongs to somebody else. Saturn governs over structure, decay. There's the time in aging, lessons and responsibilities. Saturn is also known to be the taskmaster. So as I stated, what have you done in other parts of the year to prepare you for winter? Game of Thrones, winter is coming. Are you prepared? What are you going to do? And Saturn is not, it plays no favorites. So the rewards that you get from Saturn are rewards that have been hard earned and you have done the work to reap those benefits. And so, yeah, lessons and responsibility, laws, discipline, fears, authority, and darkness. Saturn can definitely represent authority figures because of those leadership cardinal abilities. Our fears, because this is a time of darkness. Remember, this is a time where the sun has lost a lot of its light. We're not getting the sun as often during this time of the year. And Saturn tends to promote tradition, and so does Capricorn in a lot of ways. It tends to be more past oriented, whereas another Saturn ruled sign like Aquarius tends to be more future oriented. So yeah, let's now get into the essence of Capricorn energy. So we're talking about the essence of Capricorn. As we did with the other videos, we are merging all of the interpretations that we just derived in the previous slide with those big four. And that is what's going to give us the true energetic essence of Capricorn and its environment. Okay. So the essence of Capricorn is then resourceful, it's very persistent, it's ambitious and disciplined, it's very mature, goal oriented, self sufficient. There's definitely a quiet endurance to Capricorn. Again, it is a yin sign. So sometimes the effects of Capricorn is happening on the inside, and that can be like where sometimes it comes off a little bit pessimistic because they're a bit hard on themselves, and they definitely have the ability to self-deprecate themselves. Now I know I had the picture of the mountain goat on here, but it is the sea goat, and I couldn't find the right glyph that matched my aesthetic. Not glyph, the right graphic to match my aesthetic for the sea goat. So I settled for the mountain goat. But the animal symbology for Capricorn is the sea goat. So you have half land, half water animal representation. And I think it really goes to show that Capricorn energy can climb the highest heights or it can go to the lowest depths. It's going to go where it's needed. Again, it's about practicality and functionability. And Saturn being its ruler, Saturn and Jupiter are both social planets. So Saturn does care about community. It's about community being able to survive and to withstand the test of time. And sometimes you got to get down in the dirt, right? An earth sign to do the work and make things happen and to really see tangible results. And that's what Capricorn wants. They're going to be able to start the project, they're going to be able to follow through with it, and they want to see it to completion. So one thing about Capricorns, their energy, they tend to be able to complete the things that they start. However, they do take more joy in starting it. Sometimes they can take over the whole project and just want to do it themselves. There's a little bit of perfectionism, that can be with Capricorn energy sometimes. Capricorn energy, again, self-sufficient, traditional, hardworking, can be a little bit resistant to change sometimes, but not in the sense of like a fixed sign because they are cardinal, but it's resistance to change just because of that earth influence and the rigidity that we spoke of earlier and the resistance that comes from the dry quality, and that affinity with tradition and just wanting to do things the way it's always been done. Why? Because it's been shown to work. And remember, earth signs want things that are going to be sustainable, practical, and functionability. So by doing it the way we always done it, we can guarantee that we're going to get the right outcome. We talked about the pessimism. They can be quite conservative. So, Capricorn energy isn't going to be overly emotional. And, they are of the cold and dry qualities. So there can be that resistance, a little bit of distance. You're not going to get much warmth from Capricorn dominant energy. And of course, you have the rulership of Saturn with those rings. So there's boundaries and restriction. But Capricorns, it doesn't mean that they lack the ability to connect. But if you're looking for the love language of a Capricorn, you're going to have to look at it through the things that they do, not necessarily through what you're going to feel from them or what they're going to say. Sometimes Capricorn energy can lack confidence. Like I said, they can be very hard on themselves. And that's that overly critical, self-punishing energy that you can get from Capricorn. And they can be very pragmatic. So yeah, and I want to say in medical astrology, Capricorn rules the skin and the bones. So again, that structure. If we didn't have our skeletal system, we'd be a pile of skin and mush, which is disgusting. So yeah, so Capricorn energy, yeah, structure. And yeah, from a medical standpoint or medical astrology standpoint, it governs the bones and the skin. Now, planets that are visiting Capricorn's domain, they tend to develop over time. And I know this for certain because I have 4 planets in Capricorn. So yeah, this is an area of slow development and growth, but it's sustained, maintained, and it's long lasting, which is nice. Their planets here may act a little bit more structured. They may have, more boundaries, have a little bit more. There could be limitations. They may feel like they can't act how they may want to act. So like for example, the moon here would be in detriment, and she would really struggle with trying to do moon things in such a restricted environment. um Planets there could be resistant to change a little bit, but they will be purposeful, and they want to be able to find and sense the purpose in the things that they are doing. So wherever you have Capricorn in your chart will probably be an area that gets better with time, or you will find that you get to a place of mastery eventually. Okay, let's get into the polarity. So the polarity sign for Capricorn is Cancer. And when we're talking polarities, as I mentioned earlier, it's about duality. And so essentially, they're just two sides of the same coin. So things that appear to be opposite or contradictory are actually just two extreme expressions of the same thing. So they are identical in nature, but then differing in degree of expression. Okay, so with Cancer and Capricorn, we can see here that where they are identical in nature is the fact that they are both cardinal signs, liking to be in the driver's seat, initiating, and then they are both also yin, internal signs, a little bit more repressive yet receptive. So they are going to act the same in that sort of way. But where they are different is the fact that we have a Saturn ruled Capricorn, but we have a moon ruled Cancer. And then Cancer being a water sign, Capricorn being an earth sign. So, as with all water and earth signs, the distinct difference between them is the fact that earth wants that practicality and resourcefulness, and then water is more about the emotions and in the feelings. And so with Cancer energy, Cancer is going to be like, well, this is how you made me feel, and it's about those feelings and emotions. Whereas Capricorn is going to be like, yeah, but the facts, but this is what actually happened, so there's like this grounded reality of Capricorn, whereas Cancer is like, it's reality to them because it's how they felt. And they're literally ruled by the moon, which is very changeable and fluctuating when it comes to its emotions and how it rules the body. And Capricorn, I think, can be a little bit more, it's in the body, but it's different from the moon ruling the body. The moon ruling the body allows a little bit of fluidity for change, for that ebb and flow, for your emotions to ebb and flow. Whereas with Capricorn, there is a tendency for the emotions to get stuck, or to kind of harp on the same feelings for too long, and not being willing to let go. And, that tends to be an earth thing sometimes, where it's hard to sort of let go. But they both are actually being guarded in a way. Capricorn doesn't want to let go, which is a way of protecting itself. But then Cancer moves about. It's the crab, right? It moves sideways. So it can be very indirect, but that's as a mean of guarding and protecting itself. So they're both protective, just in different ways. Capricorn is definitely going to be way more direct and straightforward, whereas Cancer is going to be definitely more indirect. Capricorn is definitely more distant and independent, whereas Cancer is more nurturing and codependent. A little bit more of a latch there. So they're definitely very opposite when it comes to that. But essentially, I think that they do both hold nurturing abilities. It's just that Cancer is more so going to nurture you from an emotional feeling standpoint. Capricorn is going to be a little bit more nurturing, as in making sure that you have what you need and you are provided. As my grandma would say, love don't make no turds. And what that means is that you can have all the love in the world. The love will not get your belly full when your tummy is growling. Okay. So yeah, Cancer energy will have a tendency to withdraw, whereas Capricorn energy will want to push through. It's just going to want to push through the barriers and get through and get to that point. So Cancer is going to offer bonding and nurturance and coming together, in a sense of home, or a place to call home for Capricorn, whereas Capricorn is going to offer some boundaries and a little bit more discipline to Cancer. And it's not that Cancer doesn't have any boundaries, okay? Of the 3 water signs, Cancer probably has the most boundaries, but it's still water. And so Capricorn is going to be able to help to ground that energy a little bit. Okay, so let's get into where you will have Capricorn in your chart. Where are you going to be able to experience Capricorn energy? So as we can see on the screen, I have a Capricorn rising chart for you guys right here. Again, the glyphs may be backwards, and that's just because of the graphic that I had to use and to flip it and twist it, reverse it, angle it, and all of that to get a Capricorn rising chart. But that's okay. It's cool. Y'all get the point. You get the point. So we're going to go through each of the houses and each of the rising signs, okay? So all of the zodiac signs that you see on the right hand of the screen, these are by the rising sign, okay? Or where you would have, which house you would have Capricorn energy on for your rising sign. So starting with Aries rising, you're going to have Cancer, Capricorn energy on your 10th house of public self, the career, reputation, and responsibility. So for you Aries rising who are already cardinal yourself, you're going to also have cardinal energy at the top highest part of your chart, which makes an Aries rising very go-getter, very ambitious. You guys want to succeed when it comes to your career. You want to be known as somebody that's successful. You want your careers to have longevity, and you want there to be practicality and growth, and some sense of triumph to your 10th house. Taurus rising, you're going to have Capricorn energy on the 9th house of spirituality, traveling, philosophy, and higher learning. So when it comes to maybe religion or faith, or how you, or getting down to international travel even, you may do so with that Capricorn flare. So maybe you are a little bit distant from having to commit to um, having to either study spirituality or learn in a particular way. You may be one of those people who are a little bit more of a traditional learner. Like maybe you, there's certain thoughts or philosophies that are too out there for you, and you prefer like a more traditional take on spirituality or religion or philosophy, that sort of thing. For Gemini rising, you're going to have Capricorn energy on your 8th house. This is other people's stuff, shared resources, the inner mind. This is the house of inheritance. So having Capricorn energy here, Gemini rising, you may be you may want to be the boss of other people's money. You may find that you may like handling other people's money, maybe like accountant sort of energy kind of thing. Or you may be very traditional in how you choose to share money with somebody. Maybe you balance your checkbook, or you balance somebody else's checkbook or something like that. Or maybe you receive an inheritance from old money, or maybe it takes you time to be willing to share your resources with other people, having Capricorn on this house. For Cancer rising, you're going to have Capricorn energy on the 7th house. And this is the house of one-on-one interactions, our relationships, commitments to others, business partnerships, things like that. Having Capricorn on the 7th house for the Cancer rising, you're going to be looking for partnerships and relationships that are dependable. You want them to be resourceful and practical. There has to be a return on your investment, okay? You're going to be looking for dependability, and you need a partner who's going to be a go-getter, whether it's a romantic or platonic. You want a person who is going to be ambitious, and really who's going to balance you out, because being a Cancer rising, you are on the polar opposite end of this sign. Leo rising, you're going to have Capricorn energy on your 6th house of daily routines. This is your house of altruism and health, work, and your place of duty. So for Leo rising, you may feel like you go hard in the workplace. You may feel very ambitious in the workplace, like everybody depends on you. You may be the type of person, you're already a Leo, so we know you like to shine, but in the workplace, you might be, you may not be so much of a team player. You're more of a, I'm going to do it because I know I can do it and that it's going to be done right kind of person. For Virgo rising, you're going to have Capricorn energy on the 5th house. This is the house of creativity and self-expression, risky stuff, sex. So when it comes to fun for Virgo rising, you may have more of a traditional take to things. There may be simple things that please you or that make you happy, and things that you find yourself getting creative in or being expressive in. Or you may feel a little bit limited in your creativity in ways of expressing yourself. Sex may be very traditional, and you may not want the kinky stuff or, things like that. Libra rising, you have Capricorn energy on your 4th house of family, home, the private self, and upbringing. So for Libra risings, you may have grown up in a very traditional home, or maybe you grew up in a home where you had more strict parents or a more stern upbringing or a childhood, or maybe you felt like you had to grow up fast and you had to have a lot of responsibilities before your time. It's possible that the home may have felt a little bit emotionally absent, and it was more about what you could do or what you could produce. And you may feel like what you produce is tied to your sense of worth or your place in the family in some sort of way. Scorpio rising, you have Capricorn energy on the 3rd house of information. This is your local environment and your siblings. So for Capricorn rising, you may I'm just a Capricorn rising. Oh my gosh. Scorpio rising. You may have siblings that exhibit a lot of Capricorn energy. Capricorn energy is how you take in and receive and process information. You may have a more traditional way of going about your daily schedule. Maybe your routine, you like it to be consistent. You want functionality to it. It's got to make some sense. Or you may have a lot of boundaries. You know, maybe you like your local area to be very protected or fenced in, or, you know, hey, that's your space over there. This is my space over here. Sagittarius rising, you have Capricorn energy on the second house. So for Sag rising, this is our area of resources. This is our spending habits and things that we find of value. This is how we earn money, and this is how we also can be spending our money. So Sag rising, you may be very responsible when it comes to your finances or your resources, and you have such wisdom on how to allocate your resources and really being able to set boundaries with yourself. But you could be too restrictive, you know, maybe you're a little bit frugal in some areas. Capricorn rising, this is your sign. So you have this energy on the first house of personality, behavior. This is your health, your vitality. So Capricorn risings, you definitely come into the world with boundaries already established, you know. And you kind of want to march to the beat of your own drum. You want to do things on your own. You may find that, you know, you have body aches in regards to like your joints and stuff like that. And that's that Saturn rule. You may feel wiser than your years. You know, people might tell you you're an old soul, or you kind of grow up a little bit fast, maybe. And that could go for the Libra risings too, having it on the fourth. But yeah, Capricorn rising, your personality may come off a little bit distant or a little bit cold. People may feel like you lack tact, even though you may be telling the truth, you know, that kind of thing. Not too emotional, but you're ambitious, you know, you're self-driven and goal-oriented. Aquarius rising, you're going to have Capricorn energy on the 12th house. This is the shadow self, our place of solitude, the unconscious mind, and the area of confinement. So Aquarius energy, Aquarius rising, Capricorn energy is also ruled by Saturn, just like you are ruled by Saturn. But you may feel like you don't vibe with the Capricorn energy just because you're so future oriented, and Capricorn energy tends to be past oriented. So in your place of solitude and the unconscious, you can be hard on yourself. There is an area of perfectionism that you have more privately in the mind, and when you are in a place of solitude, you may be a little bit self-punishing, or you may be a little bit pessimistic. And this is a private part of you that maybe a lot of people are not aware of. Last, we have Pisces rising. Pisces rising, you are going to have Capricorn energy on your 11th house of friends and groups. This is your social interactions, your networking. So for Pisces rising, you may tend to gravitate towards groups that are very goal oriented, that are very practical, that have a lot of structure. And this is good for you because as a water rising sign, you need that container. And it's good that you are willing to attract friends and groups and like-minded people who can be a little bit more structured and who are willing to get down dirty and to do the hard work. And I love that for Pisces rising. That's really good. Okay, you guys, we've made it through all 12 of the houses. What do you guys think? Do you resonate with this information? What has been your experience with Capricorn energy? And where do you have Capricorn in your chart? Do you have other planets there? What are the aspects there? Definitely take a look at the description box below so that you can figure out how you can draw up your own birth chart if you do not have one. So that's it, you guys. Again, my name is Jerica Brochet. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's not perfect but I wanted to be able to give you guys a good idea of Capricorn energy. Definitely do your own research, and maybe I'll do a video on like some books and resources for people who are just starting out with astrology, which is a very Capricorn thing to do. So again, I'm Jerica Verche. I am a spiritual maven, astrologer, certified Usui Reiki master, and a certified integrative healing arts practitioner. Woo, mouthful. I want you guys to get to know yourself energetically. So at this time, at least at the time that you are watching the video from the time it was posted, okay? Not you watching the video next year, okay? I am offering a 30 to 45 minute personality analysis of your birth chart. So if you would like to get to know yourself more energetically and you want to understand the energies that make up you, and you maybe are looking for some validation to understand who you are as an individual as opposed to who you've become based on conditioning and upbringing and school and politics and religion and all of that, I can help you do that. Check the description box. I have the information below on how you can reach out to me for this reading. And that's it, you guys. Please follow me on social medias. My Instagram handle is right there on the screen. It is at msjerib. And yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. Please be sure to check out the other videos, and I will see you